Hello guys, welcome to today's video. We are going to talk about one of the hottest topic in India's right now, that is ethanol blended petrol. With the government pushing for E20 fuel across the nation, it is important to understand what ethanol is, how it works in our vehicle, and the most important, whether it is good or bad for your engine. So, in 2025, ethanol blending is in the news because India has fast tracked its E20 rollout. The target was originally 2030, but now it is happening 5 years earlier. So, why so urgent? Because it helps reduce crude oil import, strength Atmanirbhar Bharat, and support farmer who supply crops like sugarcane and maize for ethanol production. So, ethanol is not just a fuel, it is a part of India's energy independence strategy. And so, you know what is ethanol blending, why it is in the news nowadays. So, before moving further, we should know what ethanol is. So, basically, ethanol is an alcohol that looks clear and colorless, and it is made from sugar cane, corn, corn, rice, and or even agriculture waste. And when blended with the petrol, it improves combustion and reduces pollution. You will see terms like E10, E15, E20. These simply means 10%, 15%, or 20% respectively ethanol mixed with the petrol. So the petrol you use at the pump is not pure petrol anymore. It is a mixture designed for the performance and sustainability. So, what are the properties and uses of the ethanol? That first questions comes in your mind. The first, it has a higher octane rating than the petrol. This reduces the engine knocking, and it improves the combustion. Second, it burns clear and so fewer emission. But there is a trade-off. Ethanol has about 30% less energy per liter compared to the petrol. That means, in simple terms, your mileage can drop if your vehicle is not optimized for it. Another drawback is that ethanol absorbs water. Ethanol absorbs water, uh, which makes basically storage and the transportation very tricky because obviously if any chemical absorbs water, the storage and the transportation will be basically difficult for anyone. So if you talk about the production and blending, so in India and the globally, of course, globally, ethanol is produced from the molasses by the byproduct of the sugar manufacturing, as well as the crop waste like rice, husk, and maize. This makes it renewable and the farmer friendly. By blending ethanol with the petrol, India reduces its dependency on the imported crude oil. That is why the government has aggressively pushing ethanol blending under the ethanol uh, blended petrol program, that is called also called as a EBP. EBP. And if you talk about the key characteristic, the ethanol comes from the sugar, starch, and even the biomass, and it a blending ratio like E10, E20, and some countries uses the E85. Give flexibility depending upon the vehicle compatibility. It has a higher octane rating, which I have already told you that it basically blended basically ethanol has a higher octane rating, which means a higher octane rating means uh, which becomes smoother combustion. And finally it burns cleaner, reducing carbon monoxide, particulate matters and greenhouse gases. So yes, ethanol is better for the environment. Yes, definitely. And as already I have told you, environment basically ethanol has, and even the blended ethanol blended petrol have uh, a good impact on the environment. So why is ethanol important for the environment? That is the second question might in your brain. The first, it reduces or our dependence on the fossil fuel. Obviously, you are reducing the dependency by blending 20% or 30% with the fuel. So it reduces the our dependence on the fossil fuel. Second, it lower the greenhouse gases emission, helping fight climate changes. The third, ethanol improves the quality of the combustion, which means the fewer harmful gases from your car's exhaust, and the finally, it supports renewable energy target. In short, the ethanol blends are India's step toward the greener and the more sustainable future. So, uh, what is the impact on the modern engine, and if you talk about the older engine? So if you talk about the impact on the older engine of the blended petrol, now here are some basically problem I have mentioned here. The older engine don't really like the ethanol blend. Why? Because ethanol absorbs moisture, leading to the corrosion and the rust inside the metal tanks and the fuel lines. It damages rubber and the plastic parts like seal and the hoses, causing the shrinkage and the leakage. The carburetor vacuoles can clog up because ethanol dissolves deposits and creates a residue. And the finally, the cold start become harder because ethanol evaporates slowly. So if you have any older BS4 or older carburetor based vehicle, you may face issue with the higher ethanol blends. Uh, what are the impact on the BS4 and BS6? I have already mentioned earlier that BS4 vehicles, basically the vehicle which is manufactured between 2010 and 2020, they are not fully optimized for the ethanol. And for BS4 engines, the E10 is safe, but beyond E10, you may face corrosion, residual mileage, and rough idling. So, if we talk about the BS6 vehicles, BS6 vehicles that are manufactured onwards after 2020, they are calibrated to handle E10 and E20 efficiently. And the advanced ECU and the fuel injection system adjust for the ethanol blend. Ethanol resistant part residue wear and tear, and the clearer emission and the smoother driving experience. So if you own a newer BS6 car or bike, ethanol blend is not a problem for you. But if you are driving, or if you are having a BS4 or older version of your vehicle, then uh, you may face a problem. So, what are the government initiative? I have already talked about EBP, that is Ethanol Blended Petrol Program, that is run by the Indian government. Is India's official push for the ethanol fuel. E10 is already achieved nationwide, and the government wants E20 as a standard by the 2025. Automakers like Toyota, Maruti, and the Bajaj are developing flex fuel vehicles that can run on the E10 and E20 and even the higher blend. This is the backed by the strong policy and the budget support. So, uh, what are the global perspective? Globally, India is not alone that are using blended petrol. So basically, Brazil runs with the 27% ethanol as a standard, and the flex fuel car are common. The United States also uses the ethanol in the blend up to the E85. That means 85% of the ethanol is mixed with the petrol. So, and the European Union is gradually blending for the climate goal. So India is not catching up, and E20 rollout is a step towards the matching the global leaders. So, what are the pros and cons? We have multiple times uh, seen that the pros of the blended petrol that reduces the harmful emission, and uh, can be cheaper if domestically ethanol is available, and it boosts the octane rating. That why basically higher the octane number, better the combustion, lower the knocking, you know. And engine efficiently in modern vehicle support, it also support the farmer incomes with new market for the crops. uh, Basically the downside or the cons for this particular is that the mileage of basically reduced by the 10 to 15% due to the lower energy density, and storage issue because ethanol absorbs water. This is also very challenging, and it also is risk for the corrosion and residue, and that also impact the food versus fuel debate using the crops. So, the future outlook. What are the future outlook? That if we are looking ahead by the 2025, petrol pump in all the major cities will supply E20 fuels. Automaker will introduce more flex fuel vehicles, ethanol blended, aligns with the India's 2070 net zero vision. And but challenges remain, ensuring the food security, improving the logistic, and helping the older vehicle adapt. The journey is not easy, but it is necessary. So, uh, the E20 petrol, good or bad for the environment, and the BS6 vehicle is definitely good, and for the BS4 cars or the older version of the car of your vehicle, you will need to be careful with the higher blends. Ethanol blending is India's biggest step toward the clean energy, but it is also brings challenges we must solve. What do you think? With the ethanol blending transforms India's roads or create a new problems? Share your views in the comment section, and please don't forget, like this video, share it with your friends, family, and subscribe for the more automobile technology insights. Thank you.